Hello everyone and welcome to the FilmBunker podcast. My name is Nick and we are here to talk about movies and stuff, and today I am joined by four very peaceful, very noble Jedi Knights. Karen Kerr, Kelsey Clark, Ben Yaxley and Simon Hall. How is everyone?
Good.
Woo.
Tranquil, I guess.
I found out today that I'm older than Biggie and Tupac were when they died, and that really makes me sad.
I'm more just
Because
I
thought both of them were like 38. and I thought I've got time to sort of get there, and
I know where my peak is.
They look 38 to be fair.
Yeah, they do.
I learned today that Ben from Friends, you know, the kid,
Yeah.
is now Rachel's age when the show was playing.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's Cole Sprouse,
He's
that's
Cole
why.
Sprouse, yeah.
Yeah.
How depressing
cool.
is that?
He's Jughead.
He is Jughead.
You can see him in
He was
Two of them.
Yeah, one part of Jughead.
one part.
They used his twin brother to do
Yeah.
the other scenes.
Did they?
Dylan, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because
Not for
they
Jughead,
how I know.
for
They can't overuse the kid.
Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, for Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more
The
sense.
Jughead is just Cole.
Yeah, I
and
thought
people
so.
are just like, put Dylan in for an episode. Why not? And they're like,
I don't think
people will
Dylan-
notice now.
I don't think Dylan gives a shit, to be honest.
Oh, it's great. Those two are great on Twitter.
They are. They're the best brotherly rants.
Yeah.
Well, he has that thing where he takes photos of people taking photos of him, and he has
Yes.
an Instagram.
Yes.
He has an
I love
Instagram
that.
dedicated to it.
Yeah. No, I remember back in 2012, he was still in uni and he did a social experiment on Tumblr, and people never forgave him for it because he went on Tumblr and was like, hey, I'm on this website now and it's like my thing, and then he lied about it and then basically used all these people's responses to him for his assignment, and people got really angry.
That's awesome. That's just clever, though.
Yeah,
That's just smart.
he's all right.
He's a smart dude.
So should we go into some news this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And who wants to start off? Karen, you got anything?
We have that James Gunn is still fired from Guardians, and they still don't have a director, so they are postponing it indefinitely.
Yikes.
Indefinitely.
Yeah, production crews have been told to find other work.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
really?
that bad.
Yeah, okay. It sounds like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think in the end I'd rather it probably just not happen anyway.
That's
Same.
probably, yeah.
They can pick up the characters in the other stories.
I guess.
Yeah.
Not
Kinda,
really.
yeah,
I don't
not
think so.
really.
Outside of another Infinity War film, where would they fit in?
Well, they could put Captain Marvel with them like they've done in the comics occasionally, and maybe do a Captain Marvel film with them, but
It's still not a
it's
Guardians
still
film. That's the
not-
thing.
Yeah, but she could be part of it. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
See
still,
what they
yeah,
do, really,
It's still
in the
not
end.
a Guardians film, and it won't have the stuff that
same
made it
feel.
great. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't without James Gunn anyway, I
No.
don't think. It would be just a kind of shallow...
It'd be trying too hard to replicate
Yeah,
it.
exactly. It would be kind of like an imitation more
Yeah.
than it would anything of its own. And I just feel sad because, people love Adam Warlock and they were excited for him to come into the third Guardians film, and he's basically been shelved because of it now.
Yeah.
And they were going to have the next phase pretty much all cosmic from memory,
Oh, I'm
except
not
for
too sure.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange is cosmic, and his is going to be one of the first films of...
He's not
next
really
phase.
cosmic. He's still mostly based on Earth. It's more
New
just...
York,
He can be
Yeah,
cosmic.
he can be cosmic.
Yeah, less cosmic, more like plane shifting kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Normal
that
kind of
kind
stuff,
of...
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dimensions and everything.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
dimensions, but that's kind of along the same lines. I guess the more...
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
What you mean.
Otherworldly, because cosmic's more based around the other
Space.
world, like other planets and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame.
It's just
It
unfortunate.
sucks. I've enjoyed watching Dave Bautista on Twitter just rant against Disney
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, the statement that the Guardians released together, it was the best kind of statement they could have released, because you could tell they're contractually obligated to not say this is all bullshit in their official statement, but they were very much like, don't believe everything the media's saying
Very
about
diplomatic.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still our friend and we still love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately this has happened, but we do forgive him because he has apologized.
Such a tight spot to be in.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
They're walking the tightrope because they
are.
Oh well, Dave Bautista,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like
no.
Simon said, he
Yeah.
is not walking the tightrope
No.
at all. He is
He said
out
I
there,
quit
like,
until
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
he's back.
Well, Dave Bautista isn't. He's part of it, definitely, but I feel like he's got more of that room to basically be that aggressive because he's got WWE.
Well, no, he's not a wrestler anymore.
isn't he?
No, he's just an actor now. Yeah, he
Well,
was.
But
a
when are
wrestler.
you not a wrestler anymore? They
Yeah,
always come back.
they do.
Not really. I mean,
No,
the
most of them.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't
As
come
far
back.
as I can tell.
You don't
Like
come
the
back to
Undertaker.
wrestle.
So the Rock hasn't though.
Ties
Yeah,
every
he has.
year.
Yeah, he has.
He
Yeah,
did
yes.
like once.
A few
But
times.
he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
But
That's
if he
the
had
thing.
to, he would.
They, also, they don't come back to wrestle. They make appearances.
Yeah, that's
in
what I
the
mean.
storylines.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not,
They've
they're
done
not
that.
actually. Yeah, they're not
He's
actually.
wrestled recently-ish, I
Probably.
remember. Yeah.
Probably.
It was a big thing. He wrestled some... I don't know anything about wrestling.
I know.
He pinned
very
someone.
minor
He
amount,
wrestled.
Yeah, he did
He
it wrestle.
pinned, did you say he pinned someone?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Someone counted to a
All
number.
I know
and,
about wrestling is the WWE games where you'd make your own wrestler and then you
Sure.
could wrestle things. That's
Oh,
all I
they
know
were
about.
great.
They
Yeah.
were horrible.
I loved those games.
They were the best.
Made the worst characters
I know, right?
imaginable.
Yeah.
The character creation of that's nuts.
And I remember there was a bras and panties match you could do on it,
Yeah.
and we all was like, this is naughty, we're stripping these girls off. It was great.
Speaking of wrestling,
Enjoyed your softcore porn on a PlayStation 1.
2, thank
On a
you.
2. So pixelated softcore porn.
Yeah. Mildly.
I was trying to make a smooth segue.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
sorry.
And you
you
ruined
failed.
it. So
Sorry.
instead of making the segue, I'm just going to say the news.
What was the segue? I
The
wanna know.
segue was going to be, speaking of wrestling, currently Bond is having a wrestle with
I thought you were going to go to
differences.
Glow.
That's better, yes!
That's
Yeah, I
way
could go
better.
to Glow, but we're still doing news now. We're not
Yes,
doing.
okay.
We're not doing shows.
I don't
That's
like-
the problem
I'm-
with the segments.
The segments are better. Leave the segments alone.
I'm
Okay,
glad,
anyway.
I'm glad I cut off that terrible
Bond.
segue.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bond.
Yes. Anyway, so Bond's director left for the next
Yes.
movie, Danny Boyle. So now it's open, and I wanted to see what you guys thought, and if you guys have any directors you would like to see in the role.
He left because of creative differences.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. That was the segue.
In quotations, creative differences.
It was apparently a dispute over villain casting, according to Variety.
Right, okay.
Interesting.
Which,
That is
that's
interesting.
interesting.
Are we still replacing Bond? Is that a thing? Or did Daniel
No, it's
Craig...
still
Not
Daniel
confirmed.
Craig
Okay.
currently.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think it's assumed that Daniel Craig will do one more film.
Yeah,
and then
his
it'll go to a
contract
new
was for
Bond.
6.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his
Poor
contract
buddy.
was for 6,
he's
but
done
he
4.
wanted to get out.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he might do this one, maybe he won't. But I think at the moment it's pretty set in that he's going to be doing this one.
I think he's at least doing this one.
Yeah, and then I
there'll be
think
a
he
new
might
Bond.
try and break his contract after that
See-
because he hated that. He doesn't like doing it.
Yeah,
You can tell, too.
Yeah.
He hated,
That's what
he
sucks.
hated Spectre.
Yeah.
See, to me, just get rid of him. He wants to go.
Yeah, he's getting
Other
old
people
too.
want to go on it. Basically, let it happen.
Yeah.
I know he's contractually obligated.
Yeah, it's
and
all
stuff,
money though.
but-
That's the thing.
I know, but just break the contract.
They
at this
will.
point.
I think it'll do better without him. Because
It
he
will.
just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like if
And if he doesn't like it, that's fair.
yeah, if someone like Idris Elba was to do
Yeah.
it, which everyone has been asking for, more people are likely to buy the ticket to see the first, Black Bond and
Yeah.
to,
He would also just be really good in the role.
And he
I think
would.
he wants to do the role. Obviously.
yeah, but monetary wise, people would go to see it, I think, more than they would like, oh, it's just Daniel Craig again, can't be bothered with this
Yeah.
one after
But-
Spectre.
But thinking about that, would people have gone and seen a Danny Boyle Bond? It's such a weird choice.
Well, the director's not really the selling part of Bond usually.
Yeah.
No, but can you think about how weird that would be?
It would be weird.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing people mostly care about. It's
Yeah.
whoever's in the lead.
Just
at
Bond-
the time.
And the villain.
And the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the villain.
Yeah.
And just the overall, hot cars, good weapons, all the Bond stuff
Yeah.
that you
Cool
want.
settings,
Just-
yeah.
Yeah, just Bond.
Yeah.
They just go for Bond, really.
And that's the thing, I wouldn't, you asked before, who would you want? And I don't know.
I really don't
who
know
I would
either.
I don't
replace for
care.
director.
Well,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
me
kind
neither,
of
to be
moot.
honest.
A lot of people want Christopher McQuarrie to do it. I don't think he will. Christopher McQuarrie directed Rogue Nation and Fallout.
I was thinking
Okay.
He won't.
He won't do it, but yeah, that would be the best fit.
He won't do it. It would be a good fit. I did see today something kind of very light rumors about Edgar Wright.
I don't think
He would not do it.
No.
There's no
Not
way
a chance
Edgar
in
Wright's
hell.
going to do it. I think it would be really cool. If
It'd be
Yeah,
cool, but it won't
I'd love
happen.
that.
it absolutely won't
He
happen.
couldn't work with Marvel. He won't be able to work with Bond.
He won't be able to work
No,
with the Broccoli's
God,
at
no.
all.
No.
He won't work with he won't work on a franchise.
Yeah.
I
He likes to
reckon
fly
he-
his own flag.
Yeah, and I reckon he might do it maybe later down the line, but not at the moment.
I feel like Edgar Wright keeps being put into these discussions when really I like him doing his own thing anyway. Like
That's
his
his
own
appeal.
His appeal is that you're actually going to see a new film creatively. Like it's not based on anything much really. Like Scott Pilgrim is based on a comic, but it's not a
the only thing
mainstream
he-
franchise that we all knew before the film. So
It's the only thing he's done that had kind of a backing source, I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah.
don't think anything else he's done really did.
And they were written congruently, pretty much. Like the comic was being written.
Yeah,
as it
I
was,
think
like,
the
directing
last
and
volume was coming out when he was
When the movie came
out.
when the movie came
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
That's right.
And that's why the ending is dramatically different.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gotta love that movie.
yeah,
it's a very good movie.
I just feel like he's got to stay in his little individual kind of area and do what he does, and that's
Because people want to see more of him.
Yeah, like
That's
Baby
literally it.
Driver was great because it was a new concept.
Yeah.
It was interesting, funny, engaging, had all the Edgar Wright monikers, and it's like you can't get Wes Anderson to do anything else. It's just you going to see a Wes Anderson film. You're not going to be like, oh, let's have Wes Anderson as the director of Guardians 3. It would just be odd.
Just imagining Wes Anderson directing a Bond movie.
See, it would be actually pretty cool. I'd be up for that.
It would be the opening sequence, but for 2 hours. That's all it would be.
It would be like slow-mo running, and it would be like nice kind of 60s beats in the background.
That'd be awful.
And it would be like
terrible.
great colour schemes.
It'd be disgusting.
I would watch anything he puts his
Yeah, it would be.
signature
It
on.
would be boring as hell.
It would be really boring.
Yeah, because what is he gonna do? Just speak the entire time? no action sequences at all.
And like
Slow
the
motion
same
bullets.
Wes Anderson kind of way they speak as well, so just
Yeah.
really flat, deadpan.
Yeah.
Like,
What if they're all just puppets? Just stop motion again.
oh god.
I don't know who would be a good fit to direct Bond, to be totally honest.
At the moment, I'm not sure either.
Me neither.
See, I said Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
Because not because of his more recent endeavors, but because I thought Guy Ritchie would be kind of good with the Lock, Stock stuff he did and Snatch and
Again, that's kind of like a certain style too. Like that's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like there's no real good humor in Bond, whereas like the stuff that Guy Ritchie's
yeah.
done is just so
It's very
short
kinda
and
camp
sharp and
humour.
smart
Yeah.
and like. And Bond, you know, if he does anything, he's like, yeah, you know, he's like
Yeah.
holding his martini and like, it's not like he's not funny. He's not known to be funny.
No.
And I'd be
It's-
ashamed to see Guy Ritchie kind of wasted in that regard
He's
because I love
corny.
his like like I don't know.
I feel like Guy Ritchie lately though has gone because he's doing the new Aladdin, which is weird, and he's done
The live action one?
Yes.
yeah.
Ugh.
He's doing that, and then
Okay.
he's also done what was it called? The King Arthur that came out last year that didn't get very good.
I think it
reviews.
was just called King Arthur.
It's called King Arthur, yeah.
So I feel like he has got more of the, you know, I'm just directing this movie and it's not really the same things as he used to do, like Lock, Stock or Snatch. It's not that same kind of humour. But I feel like he could take some of his roots from there and then also work well with the blockbustery kind of elements of it because he's done it before and he's doing it with Disney again. So I thought that could work, maybe, if I had to choose an own director, but really I think it would just be someone.
As bad as it sounds, I think with something
Random.
like Bond, you can't really put your own like spin on it that much because the franchise supersedes everything else, or the identity of the franchise.
feel like it
supersedes
needs-
it needs it, but it won't happen.
I feel like it needs it because you need to remember that the 60s ones are so different from the ones of today
yeah.
anyway. The 60s ones are a lot more camp and a lot
Oh,
more,
yeah.
you know, and I feel like a lot of people when the first Kingsman came out were like, this is kind of the Bond movie we wanted. We wanted back to that campiness and the spiness and,
Yeah.
you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I feel like it would do them justice if they did take a couple more risks and change like the tone a little bit.
I agree, and it would, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, because they're too focused on the identity of that Bond has had for the God knows how many decades it is now.
I'm happy for them to keep that identity. They just need to fix up the film and the films and kind of go back to what
made the
them
previous
previously
great.
good. Yeah. So that's why Christopher McQuarrie might be a good fit.
Yeah.
But I don't see him doing it because he's had enough after killing himself doing the last two missions.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. So they just need to go back to that roots, I think. Like when Mission Impossible's doing better than you at what you created, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a different world for Bond to exist, really. Like people
It is.
want different stuff, out of their action movies.
Yeah. And I don't think they really want that different stuff. It is a different world for Bond, I think, as a character to exist.
That as well, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
our action hero, Bond is awesome in the sense that he's this smooth British spy who, like, is, you know, and it's espionage and all that could still work today, but a lot of Bond's character is kind of bland for now.
Yeah.
Modern cinema, we're so used to so many charismatic protagonists that he's...
But he is charismatic, Bond, as a character. Just Daniel Craig kind of killed the charisma.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that side.
doesn't.
Someone like Pierce Brosnan had a lot of... and I know lots of people don't like Pierce Brosnan.
No, he was great in it.
Loved that version.
I know, but like the people who grew up with like the
He's not
originals,
my favorite, but he still did a good job.
He had that charisma side,
Yeah.
and so did people like Sean Connery and Roger Moore.
Roger Moore,
They
yeah.
had that decent mix, whereas Craig is all the rough guff side because that's what they went with Casino Royale.
Yeah.
They made it like Bourne, like
Yeah.
it was all very gritty and stuff. So they've lost that, and people want to go back to that charisma again.
Yeah.
You need that mix.
That's why
It needs to
recasting
go.
would be a good way to
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why a recasting and a slight tone change. I'm not asking for a Wes Anderson Bond film or anything. I just think
I
that...
am now, just as a joke. The dumbest thing.
I'd be happy for it to just go back to
Yeah.
the old style.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. Just have a little bit more of the kind of, you know, audiences now know what Bond is and what Bond's about. You can't keep trying to be like, we're doing something completely different with Spectre,
Yeah.
but then making these really strange decisions. People have their expectations. Just be like they did in Mission. Like, who's chasing you now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you care? It's the same
Become
thing.
self-aware.
We
Yeah.
don't, whilst Skyfall was brilliant, we don't need another Skyfall.
Yeah.
No.
We need
No.
we need to go back to
You only need one Skyfall.
exactly.
Yeah.
On to next news. I know, Kelsey, you mentioned something about Sherlock before.
Oh yeah, I saw on IMDb that there's going to be a new Sherlock movie with Will Ferrell. I assume as Sherlock. I don't know. Is he Holmes? I don't know. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I'm a little scared.
So is this a follow-up to Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock's, or is this something completely
Yeah, that's what I was going
different?
to ask. Is it the same?
Because I thought it was
people?
Was it Sherlock Holmes 3 as in
No, this is
or a different one?
Standalone.
Will Ferrell is Sherlock.
Oh, it's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
and John C. Reilly is
Oh,
Watson.
it's gonna be awful.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This is the comedy version of.
I feel like
of
that
what
should
they're
be the
doing.
other way around. To be honest,
no. I think if it's set apart properly and it's done okay, it might not be that bad.
If it's done okay, it might not be bad. Yeah, I agree with that, but that's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
but it's gonna be the shitty kids holiday Sherlock Holmes movie.
Well, it's being released like this Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
all
Christmas
bloody Will
movie.
Ferrell
Oh,
does.
is it already coming out this Christmas?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what the poster said.
Yeah, it's called Holmes and Watson or something, isn't
Oh
it?
yes, that's right. I have seen it.
Yeah.
Heard of it previously. It just
It's-
kind of dropped off the radar.
I'm not really that, like, angry or
I'm
feel much about it, because the thing is with Sherlock Holmes, like, pretty much there's always going to be something to do with Sherlock Holmes out there.
Yeah, there's many different versions. It's
and,
not like you
like,
can be offended at that.
Yeah, it's like, I love Without a Clue, which is the Michael Caine, Ben Kingsley comedy one. I love that film. And, you know, there's great Sherlock Holmes films out there, and Robert Downey Jr.'s Guy Ritchie one
But
gave something to it, I
was-
guess.
and I just
alright.
saw
alright.
they are getting together to do a third one.
Oh, so there is
Oh,
also.
okay, so
yeah.
they're gonna run concurrently.
I don't know when
no.
it's coming out. 2020.
Oh, okay.
okay.
that's
But
fine.
still, that'll be pretty fresh.
So 2020 with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law again.
Right.
Am I right in saying that the two Sherlock TV shows are also running currently?
I'm not sure about
Ooh.
Elementary. Is
I
that
don't
still
think
going?
the other one's
I
the
don't
other
know.
one,
'cause-
the other one finished, didn't it?
Well, it didn't finish. It's just
Benedict
that, yeah, they
Cumberbatch
got
one.
too busy. Benedict
Yeah.
Cumberbatch and
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always very spaced out though.
It's very
yeah,
spaced.
it's
And to
pending.
be honest, it kind of died for me.
And it's a
anyway.
it's a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
it's a different style because it's set in present.
Look, it was brilliant at what it did in the first and second seasons when it was doing, we are putting Sherlock in the modern day. They did it really well. It was done with a kind of nuance to it that made it still feel like those characters. It was really good. But then fans got a hold of it, and
Oh,
There
the
was-
fourth
It was
season
also
wasn't
Stephen
the
Moffat.
fourth-
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a lot of things.
I think Stephen Moffat is on Twitter and DeviantArt too much.
Yes.
And I think he let it get to him a bit because a lot of it was because of the fandom that came around it. And it just kind of, I feel like, that show's
it was a
kind
pretty
of
bad
dead now.
fandom.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
horrible
very
fandom.
rabid. But the fourth season was the previous one, the last one that came out, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was okay. It was alright.
There were
Came back,
parts.
I think, from that third one where it was
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember the villain's name. He had the house and he like all his thingies were in his
was it
brain.
Lars Mikkelsen, Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of lame, and then we got back to kind of.
Well, Sherlock's sister, I was a bit like, no. Because I like the books. I like Sherlock as a, like, whole kind of, the lore, for want of a better word. And I like how they adapted the original stories in the first 2 seasons, because they took a lot of liberties with it, but it was still kind of fit in and it was fresh. And then it was like, now you have a sister and she's evil. And I was a bit like, okay.
Yeah, it was better than the third, at
Yeah.
the very least.
And then the way they killed Mary Watson as well.
That
The
was
way that they
annoying.
dealt with Mary Watson, she was just a wife who died in of either a disease or childbirth I think she died of childbirth in the original kind of novellas. And then they just kind of went, no, she's a spy now because we need women to be strong. And it's a bit like,
Hey.
yeah, no.
Woo.
Like, yeah, woo. It's great to see her a woman.
And I'm pretty over Sherlock as a franchise at this point because I feel like there's just a lot of different versions of
It's very
about it.
oversaturated.
It is very
Yeah.
oversaturated right now.
And that's
And it-
probably why it might work. As far as like movie making
Maybe.
some revenue here, maybe
Yeah.
everyone will be kind of like, yeah, I'm over it. Let's see it for a laugh. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
I get-
we don't
yeah.
want a serious Sherlock anymore. Let's just watch it for
Well,
its
I get-
pure stupidity.
I guess, yeah, it depends on if it'll be aimed at kids because it's Will Ferrell and John C.
Oh,
Reilly.
it probably won't be aimed at kids.
But like teens, maybe even. I don't know. Who knows what they could be doing?
Yeah, I feel like it will be fine. Like, a lot of their stuff
Probably,
together
yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
And, like,
Be harmless.
I feel like Sherlock Holmes 3 is in a bit more jeopardy because
sure.
the first one I enjoyed. I saw
Yeah, it
it
was
when it came out, so I must have been
same.
young.
It was good.
It was good. Second one, I remember falling asleep in the cinema.
Same.
Didn't like
I
it.
didn't fall asleep, but yeah, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, no, I remember, like, dozing off, you know, when you're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, this is gonna... If I was at home, this would have sent
was-
me to sleep.
It was pretty much the same as the first movie.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember it.
Yeah,
So that's
but
Yeah.
there you
says
go.
enough, yeah.
Yeah, I forget the whole plot.
I remember there
the-
was a weird
the
horse
bridge
joke.
part where he fell up the bridge.
Right,
that
but
Stephen
first-
Fry.
I think it was the second one.
Yeah, that
Stephen
is
Fry was
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yep.
jump off the train into the water.
That's
That's what
right.
you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's
Is
right.
it?
That's the only thing I
there's, like-
remember of that movie is Stephen Fry
And
showing
Stephen
up on a
Fry's
boat.
in the boat.
That's all I remember.
No, I remember because they did the Reichenbach fall in it.
Yeah, towards the end they did the Reichenbach fall,
Yeah.
and he has some sort of breathing apparatus, and that's,
And that's how he gets out of
away.
it. Yeah, that's normal. That's what happened.
That's what happens in the book.
I forget
anyway
all of it.
from memory.
The thing is, here's a bit of a history lesson. Sherlock Holmes fans have always been rabid because when Arthur Conan Doyle stopped writing Sherlock Holmes books, he was sick of it and he was like, I'm going to kill him off. So he killed him off in the Reichenbach Fall. And then people wore black in the streets and protested in the streets until he brought him back again. And that's why we had the miraculously he's alive.
Well, he did write
Storyline.
some stories during that period that was set before the falls, didn't he?
Yeah, he did different. Yeah, he did different things with it, but people did protest in the street.
Yeah, I
like,
know,
bring
I know.
this guy back. We love him. So
Yeah.
I guess
Why?
Sherlock just inspires.
Because it was the
Mania.
early 1900s.
No, I know why that. Just why now? Still, why do people care so much?
It's just so iconic. That's,
I know.
And they
I've
want
stopped
them
giving a shit about.
gay. They want them to be gay.
Oh well, that's the Moffat
That's just
version.
that's
anyway.
Yeah.
that's just
Oh,
Tumblr.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's and the thing is, there's a big thing because the people that own the rights to Sherlock Holmes, I don't know, they're like a board of people that like look after the rights of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really strict on what you can do and can't do with Sherlock. And one of the things is that they have to be friends because that's the way they're written. And it's like they are friends. You're not allowed to make them gay. That's like in the rules.
Oh right.
And so people are like,
And
the
even-
reason they're not gay and it's only kind of like teased in the show is because of these rules. It's so archaic. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's not. Who cares? It doesn't change anything.
Even in Elementary, where it's a woman, they can't get together.
Yeah,
For that
exactly.
reason, also,
And
which is fair enough.
I
That is
didn't
fair
mind
enough.
that. I like Elementary enough. I think Watson as a girl is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works quite well.
imagine it'd be
And
fine.
it actually makes the friendship a bit more,
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because there isn't that romantic kind of tension between them, so that's good.
Speaking of another detective duo,
What?
female-male detective duo. A few of us have watched Wellington Paranormal.
Oh, nice.
Your transitions are better.
That was a good segment.
Yeah.
I'll give you that
Get
one.
it, but yeah.
Yeah, I was so
Technically, they're not
confused.
detectives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's too much credit.
yeah.
Yeah, they are idiots.
Yeah.
Complete and utter idiots.
That is my biggest problem with
That
the
is
show.
my
Yeah.
biggest problem also, is they are funny at times,
Yeah.
but there's times where their stupidity just gets too much.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, and it seems like it's the only thing that progresses the plot at a lot of times, and so it's just
Yeah, they use that, and it's just you're sitting there. They're sitting in that cop car, and they're going on, and it's like it's funny, but then it gets to the point where it's like now you're just being really dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you've watched the first two? Did you say?
I've watched all of them.
Oh, you've watched all. Okay, so the episode where they're going out to like the farms,
Yeah.
and the people are like running by, and they're sitting there just ignoring them.
Yeah.
It's like at that point, it's like now it's just too dumb. That's just too dumb. You're just being bad policemen at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, I find that with Wellington Paranormal, like, I do like it as a whole. There's some good things in it. I feel like they do spend a little bit too much time on trying to be like, oh, it can't be paranormal. It is maybe something else. It's like, no, I'd rather you go, it is paranormal. Oh, and then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
react.
Exactly.
That would be better.
I think they're easing off on that a bit.
Yeah.
because
For sure, the latest
Yeah.
episode was good in that regard.
Yeah.
It just bounced from one thing to another, and it
Yeah.
was just all insane.
And they put in that joke about like, oh, the paranormal sock, you know, where he's
Yeah.
like, oh, but it was just a mouse in his sock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think that was a nod to be like, they are actually accepting it in everyday life a bit more.
And I like what they did with the plastic bag, where it's just like, it's just a plastic bag, and in the end it actually turned out to be something paranormal. So that was good.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Neither do I.
Have you guys not seen
We
the
might have
latest
missed
episode?
that one. We might have
Okay.
missed that
We
one.
may have
Sorry.
missed that one.
Oh,
well.
I spoiled it.
There's a plastic.
Ah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, we watch them early every week, so we may have missed one.
How involved is Tiger? You see much at all? Or?
Well, this is the interesting thing with it that I only recently found out, because I heard that they were doing a What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
Yeah.
And I was seeing the news on it, and I was like, yay. And then it's like, oh, Wellington Paranormal's out, and that's it. And I was like, oh, okay. Watched it. And then it turns out Jermaine Clement is the one kind of helming it, in the sense that he's directed every episode. Taika produces it, but it's mostly Jermaine Clement's baby, I think.
Sorry, the New Zealand Documentary Board produces
Oh
it?
yeah, the New Zealand documentary that isn't just Taika Waititi, Jermaine Clement buying a name.
Yeah.
But then it turns out there's another What We Do in the Shadows spin-off show that's going to FX, which Taika is helming,
Oh, that sounds good.
and Matt Berry's in it.
I don't know.
Wait,
who
what's
that
the
is.
focus?
I don't know who that is.
Matt Berry is ace.
You know the IT crowd? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the boss of the IT crowd?
Nice.
The new
second-
boss? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's it.
Yeah.
No, it's so Wellington Paranormal was really good because they wanted to do one in New Zealand as well, because they wanted to give New Zealand a little something, I think. But yeah, there's another one as well, and they're doing a sequel film as they're thinking about called Werewolves.
Oh, they've been speaking that. That was before the TV show.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's been postponed as well.
It's been postponed, but apparently they're still thinking of. So it's going to be like a franchise off this little cult film, which I think is quite cool because
I
it's
think
an
that's
interesting
great,
world.
Yeah. Good for New Zealand. as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
like
for
their
sure.
film industry.
Give them a bit more of an identity up there.
Yeah, I find that the best part of Wellington Paranormal though is the kind of way that the police force are portrayed, because it's the way that the police force are portrayed in every show like that. Like any
Yeah.
Australian or New Zealander kind of, what is it, RBT or something like that, when they're always like really calm and stoic and you know, like, and there's just these mental things going on and they're like, this is fine. I feel like that's the best part of it, just seeing the stop it, that's a bit scary, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I think my favourite was when the werewolves are like having that fight in the house and they're just standing
Yeah,
outside and they're like, we're not going to do anything about it. It's dangerous in there, but we're alright out here.
Yeah,
I also want to add that Sergeant Marker is amazing.
he is.
He's
He's the best bit.
he's one of the best comedy characters I've seen in a while, I'd say.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He is the MVP.
Just how he always just turns up. I think it's just a great
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
recurring
Comes in
gag.
through a window
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little recurring gag of like they're off by themselves, then he joins them somehow.
Yeah.
But the way he joins them is always really good. Like, I was at home, I was in the office and I saw this happen, so I thought, oh, I better check on them. And no, I felt that the ghost episode was the strongest so far, the third episode,
Interesting.
because I felt like in that one there wasn't much of that. You know, the actual stupid bits were actually quite funny, like the grandpa gag was funny, and the medium not actually believing in ghosts thing was actually quite funny. And then it did seem to kind of take on its own pace there, and they weren't too stupid, and there was interesting things in it. So
The one that had the most stupidity was definitely the aliens out in the field.
I
yeah.
think the first one also.
Yeah,
with
the
the
first
demonic
one,
possession, everyone had the same name, and they were like, it's weird that they all have the same name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was fine because it was the first episode. It was kind of
Yeah, it
excusable
was-
to a point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how they were just like, maybe they're related, and they so
Yeah.
it was okay. I mean, I think by the time you get to your third one, if you're still that dumb, it's like, okay, now
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
How many episodes have been released?
I think it's 5 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of
10?
10?
I'd assume.
Maybe I think it might even be 8 because it's New
Is it-
Zealand.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's
true.
only 8. Okay.
It may be.
8
It
to
may be
12.
6 to 8. Who knows?
I was thinking more the 12 mark.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They're,
Yeah.
they're half hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
probably maybe even 10 or 12, yeah.
I don't know how New Zealand works because I know England it's 6 episodes per season for a half-hour comedy. Because
Right.
England is more about
Yeah.
the smaller seasons, and
They do miniseries and stuff as well.
yeah,
No.
but this is like the actual just series.
Oh,
like
really?
the IT
Oh, okay.
crowd, let's say, is 6 episodes a season.
You know, Faulty Towers is only 12 episodes, right?
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
Faulty Towers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
you think of something that iconic, there's only 12 episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Because England is weird like that.
yeah, we don't.
They just know when to quit.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, they do. You know what? They're good on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's.
Except Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
The Doctor Who gets, what is it, 10 episodes now? 12?
They always got 12 or 13.
Yeah.
It just
They,
gets worse the more I hear about the new one, honestly.
yeah.
I think it's looking okay.
It's
Is there new news that we missed?
no, I don't think anything new. I mean, just like promos and things like that.
Okay, so some of the newer promos look a lot better than the original ones. The original
Right.
ones were pretty shit.
They were.
They were
yes.
very bad.
They were awful.
Some of the newer trailer gives you a bit more context, and it looks a lot better.
Okay, I still feel like they're definitely having an uphill battle
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this.
I feel like they're.
They have to do a lot of recovery.
No, I feel like it's not about the recovery. I think that they are really pitching into that diversity angle to
Yeah,
a
I
point
know,
now where it's becoming like I liked the fact that they got a woman as the doctor. That's enough for me. That's progressive.
Yeah, but can you
Let's
stop-
try something interesting with it.
can you stop
But
hammering
now
on it,
they're
though?
like. No, now they're like, oh no, we're gonna have different, like 3 characters.
Yeah.
One's a white male, one's an Indian woman, one's a black man.
know.
And then it's like, okay, so you're ticking
doing
those boxes.
They're doing the full cross section of
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
And then they've ticked those diversity boxes off, and now they're saying, and the newest news from it is, oh, the writing staff is now diverse, and it's not the normal just white guys that would write it. There's now like different women writing an episode.
There was females writing it in the previous season.
Yeah, there were, wasn't there?
No, there was one.
Oh, really?
Oh, I thought there
That's-
was a few.
Actually, no, yeah,
There's-
generally writers' rooms are mostly...
For Doctor
White
Who
males,
especially,
yeah.
I think there was, I don't even know, for the first majority of the new season, it was all males. All of them. Every episode's
Also,
written by a
yeah,
male.
the showrunner does usually write a few
Yeah.
by himself
Yeah.
That too.
anyway, so like that already takes up like a third of the show.
Look,
Yeah.
hire female writers, sure. That would be great.
Yeah, just don't jam it in the face and make it a big deal. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be.
Or hire them because they're female. Like,
Yeah.
hire
Yeah,
them 'cause they're
hire
good.
them 'cause
Yeah,
they're good
I
writers.
mean, the
Yeah.
old writers weren't doing such a hot job anyway.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they could.
I just feel like it's just not doing anything in its favour because those people that are a little bit more bigoted and are a bit close-minded about the Doctor being a woman by basically releasing all these articles about diversity, and it just adds fuel to the it's just the PC brigade show fire. And it should be like, here's all the interesting things we're doing with this. It
Yeah.
just happens to have
you don't
a
need to-
diverse cast. It happens to have all this, but don't advertise it because that's just showing that you're wanting social justice warriors money.
It's stuff that people really shouldn't care about, to be honest. I don't care who's in their writer's room.
Yeah.
I care what content they actually come out with.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that's interesting.
I don't give a shit as long as it's
No,
good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't care at
As
all.
long as it's good.
Exactly. It's all we should care about.
Speaking of something that's actually a little bit better than it's got credit for, Disenchanted. A few of us have watched this.
Don't know about that.
Oh, so your strong opinion is on the negative
Oh
side.
yes,
Of course
very
it
much
is.
so.
Okay, all right, that's interesting.
That's interesting
Because
yeah.
we've watched.
No, I could tell.
Five?
And I heard the breath in Simon, and I was like, you hate
Yeah.
it. You fucking hate it.
Yeah.
We watched me and Karen have watched about 5 episodes of it. Both of us think it's better than people are giving it credit for.
Okay.
And as it goes along, it does get marginally better as
Yeah,
well.
can we talk plot quickly before we jump
Yeah,
into
that's
thoughts
a good
about it?
idea.
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my to-do list. But
Same.
what's it about?
So effectively, you've got this princess, doesn't really want to be a princess, gets possessed. I'm doing air quotations in a podcast. Gets
For my benefit.
Sarcastically possessed.
She has this little demon that follows her around. They call it possessed, but really it's basically just literally following her around. And a small elf who escapes his elf village who ends up with her. And the whole thing is that basically she doesn't want to be a princess and she's just getting drunk, fucking off, you know, that sort of thing, hanging around the town. And then it's just kind of, it's a little bit serialized with a few storylines that one of them I'm not too cool with. But the rest of it is just kind of like, you know, the story of the week.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I can understand probably where Simon's going to come from, because one of the storylines I don't like,
I
that
don't
kind
like
of
any
runs
of them.
through. You don't like any of them?
What
love it.
storyline do you hate?
So the elf is interested in the princess, like, romantically, and I think
course.
it's fucking dumb.
I haven't even gotten there yet. I've seen 2 episodes.
Yeah, so so as it progresses, he starts to get like
course he
romantically
does.
interested in her, and it's really dumb. The elf isn't like, say, an elf from fantasy like Legolas. The elf is like
He's more of a
Like
trolley
a
type
Yeah.
little,
Yeah, he's
so
like a
it-
little elf.
He's a green Bart
Yeah.
with big ears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically,
he's like knee height to
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
So that part is I'm not a fan
That's
of.
concerning.
Really
Yeah.
shit. It needs to go away quickly, and I'm hoping it does. And they
Yeah.
seem to be easing it off a bit
Right.
at the episode we're up to. So hopefully it
Okay.
eases off even more.
Yeah.
But I want to hear Simon's opinions, and then we'll
too.
talk about our good side.
Where to start? I have a lot of issues with it. I think first of all, just like the pacing is a little bit off because for these kinds of like The Simpsons and Futurama, it's a neat 20 minutes. This is like 35 to 40 minutes an episode, maybe early 30s some episodes.
I find
30,
more.
I
I find more 25 to 30.
I think it's 30.
I think most of them I've seen are about
the
27
ones
to
that
20.
I've seen,
to
the
30.
first one was like 40 minutes. The
Yeah,
second
the first
one
one
was
is
like 32 minutes.
Yeah, the first one's longer. They start to drop shorter after that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I just felt like everything went on a little bit too long. I didn't love the characters either. So Eric Andre's demon, I love the concept of Eric Andre as a demon, but he doesn't do anything in the first 2 episodes.
Okay, so
That's
he gets a lot
interesting.
better and becomes the best character in the show.
Okay,
very
that's
quickly.
good, that's very good.
Yeah, very
That's good.
quickly.
And the main character, I didn't really feel there was anything good going on there. There was like the Princess Bride kind of plot happening at the start, which was
Yeah.
very cliche.
Yeah.
And I just didn't seem relatable. She was a bit sort of, I felt like that kind of, they kind of tried to force that kind of alcoholism angle a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like with that first episode, they kind of introduced her in a really strange way. Where it's like she's a cool princess and she's drinking and then she
Yeah.
fights and she's really good at fighting. And then in later episodes, they kind of make her out to be hated. Like, you're a dropkick, you're a loser, you're like, you're not good at anything. So I feel like the people seeing her as not good at anything is better for comedic purposes. Also
I
to
would
align
agree.
yourself with her. And I feel like they kind of went to strong badass at the start and then they've kind of backtracked on that.
Yeah, they backtrack to more like the lost teenager who feels like they aren't good at anything and everyone's looking at her like, oh, you're useless, basically.
Yeah.
But no one really outright says it except for in that one particular episode when Noel Fielding's in it and he just yells at her, you're a loser.
That's great.
No, I can see, like, especially if you've only seen the first
First
two,
two, yeah.
I can see that the problems are a lot more glaring. And I feel like the main problem with it is that it hasn't had time yet to find its feet. I feel like
Yeah.
it can,
I agree with that.
and I feel like it has potential. I just feel like it needs to find more of its feet.
I feel like we were maybe spoiled with Futurama because the first episode
Oh,
was
no.
beautiful.
It
Yeah,
was.
that's like the perfect pilot to a show.
Yeah.
It really
It's
was.
fantastic.
So we know you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's something we gotta kind of realize is that it's not Futurama or The Simpsons by any margin. It's its own new thing.
Yeah.
When it plays by its own new rules. And it's in a new generation as well.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It does rely pretty heavily on those sorts of things that we already had in Futurama. It is a lot closer to Futurama than it is The Simpsons.
That's what it looked
Yeah, I would
like,
have
yeah.
expected.
Yeah,
that.
a lot closer to Futurama. So, you know, Futurama, I kind of bring it like the environment. So when they're in New York, they walk around. There's always like funny signs and shit, right? You get that through the whole castle as well in this. Like it's the same kind of side characters that were in Futurama versus The Simpsons, which the side characters are so mainstay kind of like they get some characterization because they were there for so long, whereas these are just side characters like Futurama where they're kind of occasional one shots, maybe a few people that come back, but obviously there hasn't been enough for that yet.
Disenchanted. It's only 10 episodes?
I think so.
Yeah. So, well, they've ordered 20.
Yeah, so 10 are out.
They've released 10, and then they're going to release part 2.
Like next year or something?
They don't know. They haven't actually said the release
I thought
date.
they said next year.
Probably early next year, they were thinking. But I find that with it, Lucy, who's the demon character, is the best bit because I find his design is phenomenal. I love his design.
Yeah, his design's great.
Shadow guy.
Yeah, and the fact that everything else has like an element of 3D and he's just 2D.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, it's really awesome. And
like
his lines are really good, and a lot of his one-liners are great, and his character is awesome because he is this like devilish kind of guy who is very evil, but it's not like ha 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 I'm evil. Like the way he's evil is really good.
Yeah.
And he's really likable.
He spends a lot of time just egging, so Princess Tia Beanie is the main character's name. He spends a lot of time just egging her on. So just like when she says, oh, I shouldn't do that, he's like, no, do it.
That's interesting because from the 2 episodes I've seen, she literally needs no egging on. Like she's the one who says,
does.
I'm going to go kill this guy. And he's like, oh yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, no,
like-
so after that, it kind of goes back to she's a lot more hesitant to do things, and he actually gets what he's supposed to do, which is to tell her to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's
That's-
supposed to
that's
be there to ruin
interesting.
her life. He's supposed to be there as like a literal demon that's
Yeah,
possessing
exactly.
her. Yeah, so it turns into that, which is good, because if it had stayed, like you said, those first 2 episodes, it wouldn't have worked at all.
Yeah.
Whereas now it does a lot more. And there is an episode that's kind of focused solely around him.
That's good.
With an exorcism,
Ah, cool.
which is pretty funny.
Yeah. No, my favourite bit is just the fact that everyone thinks he's a cat.
Yeah.
That
He does
just
look like a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, whenever he's introduced, it's like, oh, it's my cat. And then everyone's like, cool. And then that's that. So,
Demonic speaking cat.
yeah, it's awesome. No, I think that he's the best bit, and I feel like it does need to find its feet a bit more. I have heard, though, I haven't seen up to this point yet, but I've heard that apparently if you get to episode 7, it becomes brilliant, which is a really strange
That is odd.
thing, but, you know...
I also hate when people say, oh, it gets better.
Yeah.
towards
Yeah,
the end."
yeah.
It's like, no, you're still going to
Get
trudge
better
through
now.
the crap. Exactly.
I feel like maybe it could be something like remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Yeah.
That first
Yeah.
season, you watched those first 6 episodes, and they were absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And then once not Civil War, Winter Soldier hit, it changed because of the whole Hydra thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it actually became good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be something like that, but we'll see.
Episode 7, alright.
Yeah, it's a
Episode
weird
7.
one to get good on, but okay.
Well, yeah, because it's really weird because they gave the reviewers like the first 6 or 5-6 episodes to review, and a lot of negative reviews came out about it. I feel like most of the negativity that comes out about it that I find a little bit, you know, is the fact that they keep saying, oh, it's not The Simpsons, it's not like Futurama.
I was exactly going to say that.
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, Futurama is great. Again, we talked about The Simpsons last week. It is iconic. And you can't keep, just because the same guy made it, you can't just keep saying, oh, it's not like Futurama. It's fine to me. It's a funny-ish, like, it's a funny show. The characters are, you know, good enough to keep me watching. It's, you know, if it was not on Netflix, if it was literally just on occasionally, I think a lot more people would watch it and enjoy it. Because the thing is, you have to go out of your way to actually click on it and go, I'm going to watch this now. I feel like that's
a
to its
good point,
disservice
actually,
now.
yeah.
Because Futurama, I watched a lot of
was on
because it was
TV.
on.
But that's the same. The Simpsons and Futurama have always been those shows
Yeah.
that are just
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah.
you just hop in and see it.
Disenchanted could be a lot less serialized than it could work more on a, like, you know, week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Because that's how The Simpsons and Futurama had that little bit of serialization, but it wasn't enough to ruin being able to watch it.
Yeah.
No, not
But
at
The
all.
Simpsons obviously of entirely, you know, week to week.
Yeah, completely different.
Are we calling it
story.
Disenchanted when it's called Disenchantment?
Is it called
I think it's
I think it's called
Disenchanted.
I think
it
I thought it was Disenchantment.
I thought it was Disenchantment. Is this Berenstain Bears again?
I'm gonna look it up because...
Oh man.
it is Disenchantment.
yes.
Well, at least we corrected.
Yeah.
little bit late. But
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I just looking it up to double
Disenchanted's a
check.
better
Looking it up to
skill.
double check. IMDb's got 7.4 out of 10.
That's solid.
Google users are
fine.
93%. Rotten Tomatoes 57.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
So that probably got, I
polarization.
would say,
Probably-
off those early reviews.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like the reviewers.
Watch those first 2 episodes and that's it.
Yeah.
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 I
but
was
feel like,
not planning on watching any more after those first 2. I just
Which-
thought I was going to cut it off,
to
but
be-
I might give it
yeah.
another go.
I would say give it another go.
To
If
be
you don't
fair,
like it by the fifth,
you should put your best stuff in the first few episodes.
It is weird when you have a Netflix show where you've written everything concurrently to start off so poorly and
Exactly.
then work up to
It is
a
very-
great episode 7.
it is very obviously a pilot, though, when you think about it. When you think about it, it is very obviously a pilot. It looks like something they threw together. The animation does get better as well
Yeah.
than that first episode.
I had the same issues with episode 2, though. I thought the animation was worse in episode 2.
It gets better.
But if it was a
after that.
pilot, why wouldn't they clean it up before they
Yeah.
put it on
Yeah, it's
Netflix?
weird.
don't
Yeah,
do
they're
that.
all released.
Well, they should.
Any
I know they want.
any TV show
I
doesn't
know,
clean up their
but
pilot.
it's Netflix and it's streaming. It has its own separate rules for it.
Well, you don't know. Maybe it was
not in
wasn't-
terms of the back.
No, but I mean, maybe originally it wasn't for Netflix.
true. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
And also, I feel like, with it's fine enough. I don't really agree with Simon that it's the first 2 episodes were bad enough to go, I will stop watching. But some people, it might not be for them, and they would be like, nah, I'll stop watching. But for me, I was like, oh yeah, that was. It gave me a few laughs, so I was like, yeah. And I finished Final Space, and I wanted a little animated thing to kind of
Something
watch.
easy to watch.
Yeah, easy
That's
to
fair.
watch, and it is. It's easy to watch, and I feel like it would have a better kind of reception if it was network TV.
yeah.
And I feel like Netflix now has been the thing that people say, why don't we put it on Netflix? And we've seen now that a lot more show formats aren't really working on Netflix.
No.
Episodic content like Disenchantment doesn't really work well on Netflix. The John McHale show got cancelled.
Yeah, that's
I
Oh,
did
I
it.
didn't.
It's
like
massive-
that
massive
show.
shame.
But
love that.
because it didn't work on Netflix because they didn't know how to release it. They released it all
it was all weirdly
weekly
chunked together.
to start with, and that worked because it was topical stuff. But then people obviously weren't watching it because they weren't remembering to go back on Netflix to click it on. And then they released all 6 episodes at once for the second half, and obviously that didn't really work
That killed
because
it.
people don't want to watch 6 straight episodes of this. Really, it's kind of like a weekly thing, and
Yeah.
that format works elsewhere.
They have other weekly shows on it anyway, and those seem to survive. So I think what killed it was that second kind of order that they released all at once. I think it was going pretty well. It had a decent following for the first part where it was weekly.
Yeah.
I think it got killed with that second.
I feel like the other weekly shows, though, you need to remember the other weekly shows aren't made by Netflix usually.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
weekly shows are made by other. So in America,
survive.
they survive, but because they're surviving on the network channel in America, the Netflix figures don't really matter.
It's a
It's
poor
just how we,
platform
yeah,
choice.
It is.
It's just how we get it in
But
Australia.
yeah, okay, yeah. They would. What I was getting more at is if they didn't survive, Netflix wouldn't keep the license for them in these regions.
Well, they keep them in these regions because they're the best way for us to get them.
Well,
but that's different
someone
in
else will
Australia.
pick it up. That's the thing.
No, it's better. It's different in Australia to what it is in the US. In the US, if it's a Netflix original, that means that everywhere in the
No,
world
I
gets
know-
it.
I know that, yeah.
But here in Australia, we like the fact that, let's say, Rick and Morty or Riverdale,
Well, Rick and yeah.
we get it weekly. So we're like, cool, we'll get this weekly and we'll remember to put it on weekly because it's a show we like. In America, they have the network TV channels actually putting it on.
Yeah, but what I was saying is that
And
doesn't affect
those ratings.
So Netflix in our kind of in our area, they wouldn't keep the licenses if it wasn't surviving weekly here. They wouldn't bother. They would get rid of it.
Yeah, but I think that
Not because it's not doing well in America. They won't keep the license for Australia if it wasn't doing well in that format within Australia.
But it will do well in that format in Australia because Australia doesn't get fast track content in any way
They do
that's
on-
better
do
than
some.
Netflix.
They do some on
There's
Freedom.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some, but it doesn't. For Australia, it's a
reality
different
shows.
place. Yeah, for Australia, I think it's a different place. Australia, we are actually happy with going weekly to find the shows, whereas in the US, because it's such an overload of content and they get everything, I feel like that's where those weekly shows on Netflix might falter.
But anyway, I think we should go into this week's bunker battle.
Sounds good.
So in the bunker battle, we take a look at a few things and we battle them off and see what will survive in the bunker for all time once the world is gone. And Karen's struggling really, really hard to come up with 2 things.
Sherlock and Doctor Who.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
That's actually quite hard.
It works.
Is
well.
it? All right.
I'm met about both of them.
I was just like literally that was just my brain just came up with it and it came out of my mouth.
It's actually pretty good.
I'll start off because it's really easy for me. I'm going to go with Doctor Who because I like Sherlock. I like the iconic character. I like what it created. But content-wise, recently, I have gotten to Doctor Who a lot more recently, and I liked it a lot. I've liked it a lot better, and I think it's been more entertaining, and it has been around for a long time, if not as long as not as long, obviously, as Sherlock, but it has influenced a lot anyway.
Absolutely.
In the sci-fi kind of side of things. So, I'm going to have to go with Doctor Who.
Yep, I'm going to go Doctor Who as well. Blink was amazing. It's
Oh,
better
yes.
than anything
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes related that I've seen in the last
Just
decade.
that one
and so
episode.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Just Blink. That's the reason.
Really? Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Blink was the first Doctor Who episode I ever watched.
Oh, you must
It's a
have been
good one.
so disappointed.
Coming in strong.
It was actually I think one of the it was the second one I ever watched.
It was the first one I ever, because literally I saw the ad for it and it looked really cool and I went to watch it and it was great, and then it was Doctor Who.
First one I ever watched was Girl in the Fireplace.
Everyone loves that one. It's
very good.
I'm not a
I
huge fan of it.
adore that one.
I'm not a huge fan of it personally, but that's just me. I'm going Doctor Who because I literally just said before I'm over Sherlock. And I still am. And even though there's a lot of crap in Doctor Who, when it peaks, it peaks real damn well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of negativity for me around Sherlock and its fandoms, no matter what section of Sherlock you actually look at. And I'm just, I'm over it all, to be honest. I don't give a shit about Sherlock and Watson and whether they're gay or not. I don't fucking care. Give me aliens and a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go Doctor Who.
Sherlock for me. I hate Doctor Who.
Oh.
Probably a bad time to bring that up, but I mean, I like it's alright. But
You know what? I can understand why people would hate
Same.
it.
Yeah, I'm quite
absolutely.
surprised that I
Absolutely.
do, like, because I love, so many different types of fandoms, and everyone always expects me to. But just for some reason, I think the odd mix of sci-fi I didn't enjoy. I think it's sort of, been running a little too long. Like, Nick, you kind of use that as a good thing. I think it's not necessarily a positive thing, and that it maybe should have, like...
Well, that's the thing.
bookended.
It did stop in the 80s and then restart in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So
I
it
don't
had
think
20
it
years.
should have, is my point. And I think for me, like, ignoring the Will Ferrell movie later coming this year, I've enjoyed any version of Sherlock I've seen too. Like, I don't necessarily go, I don't like this version of Sherlock and I love this version. I tend to, any Sherlock iteration I've seen, I've enjoyed. So I think that's a testament to the storytelling and that he is a,
Have you
he's a
seen
good
Sherlock
character.
Gnomes?
I haven't.
Does that count though? I guess
He is
it does.
literally. It does.
I know.
The
I
gnome
know.
is Sherlock
know.
Gnomes. He is dressed exactly
I'm
like
aware.
Sounds
I'm
excellent.
aware.
I was just saying Sherlock the TV series to go in the bunker, so Sherlock Gnomes wouldn't come near us anyway.
I thought you meant
You
just
said
both franchises.
Yeah, I thought it was franchise also. I'm still going with
Still going
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
I'm going to go Doctor Who because I was a wee child when I was still in England and it was dull and grey outside and raining and everything was sad.
And you turned on the TV and it was again dull and grey in a quarry in Wales.
Yes, I dreamed of the quarries in Wales. I was like, at least it's outside. No.
England sucks.
And with David Tennant.
I just remember that it was coming back and my mum and my aunt were both like, it's coming back, we'll watch it, it'll be good. And I sat down and watched the episode with them, and it was TV history in England at that point because it's such a big part of TV history there, and that's why they keep it going, because it's it's kind of like a soap opera for them in the sense that it has this consistent, it's always there, it's always on TV, it'll grow up with you, there's all the doctors, it's great. And I found that, sitting there watching Christopher Eccleston, and then we had this We were at a birthday party when he regenerated into David Tennant, and everyone stopped the birthday party, went and watched it. Because we, at that point, because we were kids, we didn't know who the next Doctor was going to be. So it was an actual surprise when he showed up, and no one knew who he was. We were just like, that's the new guy, that's the new Doctor. And then I became a teenager and fell in love with David Tennant and had a poster of him on my wall. So I can't...
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
Yes, I remember that. That's great.
So, I just have a love for Doctor Who. And even now, with the things that I may disagree with, Matt Smith, I mostly disagreed with.
Yeah.
He had a bow tie.
I think he as an actor is fine. He got
Yeah.
really bad writing given
Yeah,
to
he
him.
did. And
but
it,
he as a Doctor is fine.
Mostly
was
just
fine.
that, was it season six?
and seven.
His third one or his
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, the third
with
one
Clara.
was fucking
The one with Clara
disgusting.
It's
Clara
seven.
was just.
I liked Clara
Tragically
with
bad.
Capaldi. I liked Clara with Capaldi.
I never
a lot
watched
better.
it. That was
Yeah,
the end of
Yeah,
Doctor Who for me.
Yeah, honestly, I stopped in Matt Smith's second season, but I'm more inclined to get back into Capaldi's.
Go for
episodes.
Capaldi because Clara's a lot better with him, and generally he was like kind of the first Doctor that I got into. I had previously, and then from there I rewatched the rest. I watched the rest of it.
I actually went backwards.
Yeah, so I watched Capaldi, and then from there I watched everything from the start to Capaldi.
Well, not
okay,
from the
cool.
start, from 2000.
Yeah,
from
the 2005
Yeah,
start.
the current Doctor.
You can't
Who. Yeah.
watch
No one
the
has
old
time
stuff.
No.
The old stuff
Also, the old
sucks.
stuff is missing. You can't watch
Yeah.
any of it.
Not all of it. Well, you can
It's all.
watch
It
some
got
of
most
it.
of it's gone.
It's on DVD. I've seen it
No,
on
so the
DVD.
first Doctor, most of his
Oh,
episodes
that,
are
yeah.
gone.
I mean, like Tom Baker and stuff.
But anyway, in a landslide victory, it is Doctor Who.
What a surprise.
So we will finish up for this week.
Yay.
So we'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye-bye.
Bye.